And just like that, the season comes to a close as the Lions beat the Blues by 17 points. Very much just another game in the history books. It won't really be looked at with too much favour. I mean, there won't be much spoken about this game for the rest of our lives. It was just a real classic Carlton performance, as you could really put it. Some really good footy, matched with some equally as bad footy, matched with a little bit of a fight back, matched with it was a kind of too late. Game was already dead, and the Lions, full credit to them, professional team. It was hard because they didn't really have much to play for. They knew where they were standing in terms of the finals, but they had a professionalism about them that we can only dream about having right now, because we are pretty far off where they are at right now, and that's just the reality, And obviously with Simo's last game, there was a bit of a build-up. We wanted to make sure we went out there and played the right way and played the way he would have been proud of, and spoke about the final image of Simo. He didn't get carried off, which was interesting. I thought it was a very noble act by him. He kind of didn't want to be celebrated like that after a loss, and that was the Simo that I'm not surprised. I mean, I don't think anybody would have complained to see him being chaired off at all. But the fact that we lost, you could just tell he didn't want to sort of have that extra fanfare after a loss, because you can't be celebrating losses, and he gets it. He gets it. Simo gets it. But Bryce Gibbs, he's so good. He's just a club legend, and we'll just cheer him off and give him his Kodak moment. So smiles and hugs and kisses and fairy dust. Look, the first quarter, I thought we played with the right energy. I was actually really proud of them in that first quarter, because the Lions are a quality outfit. There was some super intensity about the way we were playing. We were conceding goals to the Lions, which seemed to be so easy. The way they were getting their goals just seemed to be so easy. It was very similar to the Sydney game in how they were getting their goals. It just seemed like any time they went forward, they were scoring, and not easy shots, but just that they made it look easy. And we were matching them. When we got the ball in quickly, we would score, and it was very impressive. And, nothing to complain about in that first quarter. And then the second quarter, I mean, the lapse in concentration, 2 turnover kicks out of defence to set up Brisbane goals. I think it was Wiedering and I think it was Jack Noons with the 2 turnover. It was just terrible turnover kicks. And then we had a couple of decisions go against us. But by that point, you could just tell the way that we applied ourselves in the second quarter. It's kind of like the footy guides were saying, well, all right, well, now you're going to be getting some goals straight off free kicks because of the way you're playing. It's funny how it works out. You kind of make your own luck. And the rain started coming. Their handballs started coming. I couldn't believe there was just no footy IQ. The rain was coming, and it always is a situation where you say, rain's coming, who's going to be the first team to adjust to the conditions? And yet again, it wasn't us. The clangers, the stat of clangers at halftime was 29 to Carlton to 14 Brisbane. And that probably sums up right where we were at halftime. I've got to say that me at halftime, I was questioning. It was like an out of body experience. I was questioning everything. I was lying flat, looking up at the roof and saying to myself, this group is not, it's not happening with this group, like ever. Like, this group won't be successful. There won't be a premiership. It's kind of like the epiphany happened at halftime, because just the lack of pride, and they only play when it suits them, and all of that. And it was probably like a 20-second thing where I was just laying there staring and just questioning everything. And then some Twitter mentions came my way, and I saw the Teague spray, and boy, did I come to life. It was like I had actually fully given up on the team and the club, and then Teague just yanks me and brings me back, because and I don't know if he's done that before. I'm hoping he's done that before. But, there have been question marks over his ability to be a little bit more tougher and ruthless on them, rather than just be, nice and, I want to play our way. And you get that vibe that, does he have that other side to him that all successful coaches do? And obviously to see it, and the way that he spoke about, he obviously looked at the leaders. I'm pretty sure he singled out Cripps and Murph, who were both very poor. I know Cripps was hurt, but still, you cross that line, you're good to go. And it was good to see, because that's the kind of shit. It's funny because that's the kind of emotion that's been coming out of the fans in the fan cams and across when I speak to people. But a lot of people lash out at those fans for showing that emotion. But now that Teague's shown it, it's kind of justified. Like I reckon it was a win for the fans who have shown that emotion this year. So was it 6 weeks too late? Yes, it was 6 weeks too late. But again, do we know that he's not given them a spray? Or we don't know. We think. We just haven't seen one like that. That one just happened to be picked up on the broadcast. So that was good. And then, thank fucking goodness, there was a response in the third. And who else? Who else to get us going in the third when we're down and out and the supporters have given up? Who else but Cade Simpson to kick the first goal of the third for us? And that'll be replayed for years. That's a special moment, well deserved for a guy who, it's all been said. There's nothing else I can say that hasn't already been spoken about with Cade Simpson, and that was great. And it was one of those Carlton games again where they play so bad early in game that it's a sinking feeling, and then they start coming back and showing some heart, and you've already given up, but you kind of want to get back on, and you want to appreciate them again. And I don't know. I know we came back and it was a good fight back and all of that, but I just felt like the game was dead. I felt like the game was over and we were just playing to show some face. The Lions never really let it get to a point where it was dangerous. The broadcasters did a good job of hamming it up and talking about, more goals than minutes needed and all of that. But it was dead. It was dead. And this type of game, like I said at the start of the video, this is the type of game that's been happening for a decade, honestly, for real. This is the type of game that we've seen for a decade. The terrible lapse, whether it's a 15 or 20 minute patch, sandwiched in between 3/4 of effort and an honourable loss. I just wanted them to play with pride. Did I get that? I guess so. I guess they played with pride, but they talk about having to bridge your gap between your best and your worst. And unfortunately for us, our best and our worst doesn't come from week to week. It literally comes in game. In game, we can be at our very best in a season and at our very worst in a season. And there are grave concerns, serious question marks over this all. And so there should be, because I know the sentiment, keep the faith, it'll turn. But based on what? What? Just because I'm keeping the faith, that's what's going to make it turn around? That's living in a fantasy world. I've seen signs of individuals improve this year, for sure. But as a team, as a collective, as the way we play, nothing's really that much better than last year. And I'm talking about when David Teague took over. And these are the questions that we go into the off-season with. Desire, poise, polish, ability to handle pressure. And it's... Even, I saw Matthew Lappin put a very interesting tweet out last night during the game, talking about things that he was noticing. Guys looking at their disposal numbers more than what they're looking at their tackle numbers. A developing ruckman, which allows momentum swings to come against us. And he's got a point. Too tall. I mean, 5 talls. There's got to be some question marks over that selection. Has to be. Like, we're playing. I kind of understand the whole. Got to help out with Tom de Koning, and you put Pitternet there. It's a good tandem, but we got dominated in the hitouts. We did. I think it was we had 5 hitouts in the first quarter. I believe the Lions had something like 14, and it was 10 to something at half time. It wasn't like it was a win for us in the ruck department either. So there's that, and then we're looking at the 3 talls: Harry, Levi, Mitch. Harry looks great. And then he's finished off the season in a really good way, which is a big tick. But the other 2, I guess we'll get to them in the player ratings. But anyway, it was a disappointing way to end the season because we started the year very poorly the first couple of games. Then we got it going, and then we looked so good. We looked really good. And then the last month of footy has been very disappointing. We plateaued and maybe even dipped, and it's worrying. I don't know. I'm worried personally. I'm worried for this off season. I'm worried about a lot of things. I have question marks over a lot of things because nothing for me looks. When we're looking at finals next year, that's now the agenda. There's it's going to be tough. So. Anyway, that's that. Really appreciate you guys being here for the ride. I hope you've enjoyed it. Some of you will switch off for the off season and join us when the games are back and the pre-season content maybe is back, and that's fair enough. Some of you will stick around and be with us through the trade talk and the draft period talk and all of that. So whether that's you, whoever that is, all good. Thanks so much for being a part of it. It's been cool. It's been cool tracking the journey and covering the boys, covering the season. It's always fun. And we move on to off-season, silly season as we call it, full of rumours and all of that. I don't know anything. So if anyone wants to know if I have inside word or anything, I do not. I do not know a single thing about anything. I wait until I get confirmation from the club or, good sources, and that's it. So with that, talk to me. What did you think? Do you think we let Simo down last night? Do you think we showed something for him to be proud of? How did you see the game? Let me know in the comments below, and go the Mighty Blues.